try to get people like you to stay out of it. Try to get people to back up and say, oh, I'll whisper in your ear that I support you, but publicly, I'm gonna take the sidelines on this. That's their goal, and so the more attention we give to that, the more people might choose to go that route. And so it's not really something that I focus on, because ultimately the public agrees with us, and the less that we let groups like By Any Means Necessary and Acorn and Bisq bully us around and intimidate us, the better.
All the usual establishment came out against the Michigan Civil Rights Initiative, and that included the Republican Party, the Chamber of Commerce, the churches, and all these organizations. I was wondering if you've had similar response in Nebraska and Colorado and other states.
Well, the organizations you mentioned wouldn't be the usual suspects who we would expect to come out against us. The usual suspects in all of the states have come out against us and work against the initiatives. But the Republican Party in most of the states either didn't take a position or supported, even if it was quietly supported. Chamber of Commerce, I think in most of the states actually came out against. But it wasn't, those states, they were different in a way. Still had very high power opposition, well-funded opposition. That's another interesting part to the story is oftentimes my opponents say, oh, well, you know, they've got all the money and they've got the deep pockets and they're you know, marketing gurus. Well, I told you who worked on this campaign. It was 5 or 6 of us, all under 30 at the time, working on this initiative. We were outspent here 5-1, at least 5-1. It's the other side that uses money to try to spin spin the vote. But in all of the states, the usual suspects definitely came out against us and came out strong.
Why is it, do you think, that the leftist groups are very strong in their opposition, but people that, you know, should be our natural allies on these issues are really unwilling to, you know, to fight and oftentimes come out, you know, against?
Well, the issue of race is hard. It's when you have organizations and individuals, I mean, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, who make a point to yell that you are a racist as many times as possible for supporting equal opportunity and ending preferences. That's a hard decision to make. I mean, when you're thinking about your career, and politicians are probably thinking about their career more often than the rest of us are. But you have politicians who are thinking about their career and where they're going to get funding. I hope you don't mind this, Leon, but I'm going to use one of your stories. Leon was a state representative from Macomb and was our chairman of the initiative. Had raised money from the Chamber of Commerce, Detroit Chamber of Commerce, right?
What, for the initiative? Or
for you.
Well, Detroit Chamber, yes, and the State Chamber.
Okay, had raised money for his own campaign in previous years often. And after he chaired the Michigan Civil Rights Initiative, he couldn't get a $50 contribution from them. So when you think about things like that, it makes it, I understand why people are hesitant to come out in support. I understand why it becomes an issue that you discuss around your kitchen table and not publicly. And then the reason the opposition gets the pile-on effect is because you have companies like GM and Ford and Chrysler who toss in $100,000, $200,000, $250,000 to the opposition, which is typically nothing when it comes to their budgets, although today I would bet they wish they had that money back.
Buy the company for that.
But they toss in money and they toss in their support for our opposition, and then it becomes a pile-on effect. Then all of the vendors and suppliers also need to show that they support the big three. You have Jesse Jackson, who threatens to come in and make an example out of you if you remain quiet. I mean, not even if you support, but once they get a critical mass of organizations opposing, then if you're not opposed, you're considered part of the supporting organizations, and therefore you are demonized as well by the likes of Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. And in Michigan, the media took that at its word. I mean, the media was part of the opposition, and most politicians can't or won't handle that well.
In preparation for your case, what kind of research, as far as U.S. American history and the treatment of people over the years, what kind of research did you consider necessary? What kind of research did you do? I was just curious.
Well, I wasn't a lawyer in the case, so I wasn't writing briefs or anything along those lines. I was out telling my story, and I mean, with that, I didn't need to know the legal explanation behind it. That was my attorney's jobs, and I didn't second guess them, and I knew that they had my best interest at heart and had the public's best interest at heart, and believed in